Guys, welcome back to Talking Charts. Hope you guys are having a great weekend so far and getting ready for next week or for the next trading session. All right, let's dive into the charts real fast. I have a couple of trades that we took last week and they played out perfectly in the on TradingView and on here as well. Okay, so first thing we're going to look at today is the USD Japanese yen. Look at where we at on the higher time frames and what we could be expecting moving forward in the coming sessions. All right. Still to say, I think I still have this level still marked. I have the resistance levels here and the supply right here, okay? And they are actually being respected as of this moment. I think there's a trade right here which was called out last week, and it did happen where I saw this dump, but not particularly at the same time. There was a retracement before the dump, right? I think liquidity grab before that dump. But still, we are still looking at this pair trading in a zigzag movement, which is basically resistance, support, resistance, support. So, as a trader, what are you looking at in these two pairs or on this pair right now? We got a support here. The support base is created here on the 4 hour. Another we have the resistance here. So basically, if you want to trade this in the simple terms and know exactly where your market is going to take you to, you want to wait for one scenario or two scenario to happen. Okay. I still have a good zone here for buys. All right. At 144, 145, I think. It goes all the way to 144. If we were to break below this if we were to break below this zone here, the support base, then we're coming all the way down here to 144, 145-ish, right? 145.00. So we have the zones here, support and resistance. Okay, so what you want to see here is price should mitigate in these two areas. Now, if price is to break above this zone or market here, this uh resistance zone, which is actually telling us price already tested this like 3 or 4 times. If price is to break above the zones, then we should be looking at buys for this pair. Okay, we should be looking at buys, and I'm gonna explain that further. Give me a second here. If prices will break above the zone, that means we've broken above the ceiling, right? Which means the next part where we want to see price go is right up here at the top here of the supply zone at 150 or 148, give or take, right? Or 150, give or take. Now, is that going to happen this coming sessions? We are not very sure, but we're starting a new month and maybe not. So, my play is this. I want to say something like this with pound, with the US dollars, Japanese yen. It is either we come down with a support level and go back here and still keep dumping like this, consolidation. The big players are making your moves made or made unknown. Or we could simply make a move like this, where price could either dump here, come to the support area, and then come to this zone, or maybe do something like this halfway, then this acts as support. All right. If we can have something like this, then we're looking for a move upwards like that. Now, if this does not happen, if this is not possible for this pair, then the next option I think I see is for price to keep doing what it's doing right now. We're talking moving up here and dumping. All right. No one can predict the market 100%. All you have to do is play your probabilities, right? You have to see what the market is telling you on your probabilities. This is the higher time from the 4 hour. There is nothing to see on the 30 minutes. I don't think so. All right. The 30 minutes just gives us the same thing. All right. If you look at this, it's exactly the same thing in the 30 minutes and on the 4 hour. So if you want to go by a higher time frame or lower time frame on this pair, there is no big trend for you to follow because for 4 hours, we are just consolidating in this area. But what we want to see is a break below this or a break above this for the next move. Or you can basically short the tops, which should be right here, shorts here, and buys in this area. All right. If you have those two zones marked up, short and buy, till the breakout. When you see a breakout happening, you want to get out of your trades, right? Take your profits and get out of there. So that being said, let's see what we have here on the 30 minutes on this pair. As I said before, there's really nothing to see here. And if the market opens, we want to see maybe price coming over to like 147.78-ish. Right now, 147.15. These areas are good areas for sales. I'll bring this up because already price is trying to like see we have a we have this here resistance that is still being active, already marked up for you guys to see. If price is to dump on this pair right now, you want to see the volume dumping. If price dumps and retraces immediately, then we're going back to the resistance, all right? But we have a constant price dump or something like this. If you're seeing something like this on the pair, on the volume, if you see price doing this, is bad for the pair, right? You want to understand that price might go a little bit lower than that. But if we are still here on price action, we have our resistance zone marked here on the 4 hour 30 minutes. We have a resistance telling us we're not going nowhere on this pair unless we cross this above. Or we have a second option. 1 second here. Supply up over here. All right. So let's see where price goes on these two zones. And for the buy zones support, I want to put that on this pair right here. All right. This is where you want to get your supports going, where to buy and where to sell. Trading is not like you can predict the exact move. I had zones drawn up on my USD CAD. These zones actually did held, but price went below them, right? And above them sometimes. So you want to look at that. So sells and buys, basically it for the US dollar, Japanese yen. Moving on, that's the US dollar cut, Canadian dollar, what I just said. So what I was expecting was a dump and a rebuy of this pair. Now the dump has happened, all right? I think my last prediction was USD CAD was something like we come down here before going up to this resistance. But price actually did come to the resistance zone, which is right here. If you see this, it was already marked and probably went above the resistance zone, then it dumped again. So if we look here, we have the dump area that I marked here, price coming up here to this area and falling off. But did it happen exactly as predicted? No, it did not. Which brings us back to trading 101. You can only predict, but you cannot actually tell what the market is going to do. So what are we seeing for the US dollars, US dollar, Canadian dollars? Is this basically we're still on the downtrend kind of on the 4 hour. We're not making any higher highs or lower lows. Basically what we have is this. That doesn't count at all as a higher high. And price, if you want to bring this to, let's say, another higher high to look at this, then price actually broke the uptrend, right? If you're looking at something like this, then price has broken this uptrend, which means we are going down on this pair, all right? That's what I see. I am actually somehow on the sell side on the US dollar, Canadian dollars right now because of this weak move we're seeing here, okay? That being said, what are my zones and what zones am I looking at? For that, I'll go on a 1 hour time frame to look at the zones in the US dollar, Canadian dollars. Right now, price is sitting at a support zone. Right here, we're testing the support. Is it going to hold? We don't know. The second thing we have is a resistance. Here on the resistance zone, we have one resistance zone here at 138. 51 is a good place to sell this pair. If you're looking at that, and the second place where the pair could actually sell again will be right here on this point. Another point for sales will come down to given this weakness, we want to come down here to this area marked here. It is a volume profile area where we had a rally base rally, then price shot through it, right? So price actually did come below the rally base rally, which now makes this spot a resistance zone. All right, so rally base rally. If price was to come down here like it did, so what basically this is what happened here. You had a rally, base, rally, price came, tested the zone and went up, then fell again. This means this area is weak for buys. And now it presents as an obstacle for sales, or it becomes like a favorite thing for the sellers, right? So if price to retrace, if you want to see price retrace like this from this zone to here, 138.08, you want to sell back down, all right? That also depends on the volume. The second area of interest for this pair would be this. Price comes here, does this, still mitigates that. Then you want to sell at 138.57, give or take. Okay. So you want to watch the price action, watch the volume. Volume is key, price is key. Volume and price mixed together or put together is the absolute king, right? On everything you're trading. It doesn't matter if it's stocks or crypto or whatnot. Okay. So support resistance on this pair. The zones to look for buys and sells. All of this is very weak on the 4 hour. I don't see any demand zones on this pair. All I see on this pair are support and resistance. Now, when you see zones where price does this little movement and is staggering with very long weeks here and there, this is not, it's not a good price action for you to think, oh, price comes back here, I'm gonna have a good buy zone. Okay, I don't see a demand on this pair. All right, see support and resistance. I just see areas where price can conflict and come back up, but still there are no good demand zones on this pair as of now for me or anyone. All right, or if you're trading this pair and you have another option about it, another opinion, let me know. But I think here support could hold, but it's been tested 3 times, which makes this very weak. All right, so this support held and broke through the resistance. Now we are actually sitting on that's why I'm actually saying this is a good spot to buy this pair, because now we're sitting at a resistance turn support, which means price could either reverse from here or fall back. So for the resistance zone turn support, we are here, we can do that. Or if the pair want to dump, then we'll be seeing something more like this. We'll be seeing something more of consolidation, and dump. All right, before we can see something move like that. All right, so that's what I have on the US dollar Canadian dollars. Not much to see. If you look at your charts clearly, you see zones of origins and all that. All you want to do is mark up those origins where there were sellers and their buyers. Not much to see. Support holds good. It doesn't hold. We're going down to this support down here. If not, this first support could hold, and price keeps doing that. So if I want to mark this up for those who want to see it, I want to see something like this. All right, something like this before we're talking about something like this, if this holds. All right, so US dollar Canadian dollars, not much to see unless the US dollar pick up strength. We have sell zones, buy zones, or we have buy zones all the way down here where you might want to take a test on that. All right, not much to see. As I said, just watch out for price action. Moving on, we're going to look at the Great British Pound US dollar. So GDP USD, what do we have here? Coming from the last week recap, this move down was expected from this resistance zone, which was drawn here. Price actually did come down, and now we're just mitigating around this area. I was expecting for us to maybe come down and get some of this bias and shoot more up, but that did not happen. Okay, that didn't happen, but our sales did happen. Took some profits on the sales there. Now we're moving forward to the 4-hour charts, see what we have on the US dollars, pound US dollars, sorry. Right now, we have a good support zone, which I think price actually bounced off from. It is not a demand zone as some people think it is. It is not the support. All right. If you want to get a demand zone on this pair, it's all the way down to 133 something. This is just support zone. Price coming up from there in the 4-hour. Okay, we get that as support zone, the memento. And now we have another resistance zone still active. We have resistance active all the way up here. It has not been breached yet. And as long as this pair remains under this resistance, it is a sign of weakness. Okay, this is a sign of weakness because we are still unable to break this resistance. Are we going to retest this the third time or the fourth time? Maybe, maybe not. But looking at this, it can also tell us that price has tried this a couple of times, which make this zone really weak, right? So if there's a news event in favor of the pound, it can just blow through this really fast. And now this becomes support. But still, we had a resistance here now that is acting as support. And if you want to go on a 1 hour, where I can actually see with using the volume profile, where I can look for bias on this pair, it's all the way down here where I see this movement. The weeks are still very weak. So if I come all the way to this area here, I will have a buy area. 132, 133.09 is where you can actually buy this pair and be happy about it. Any other thing on this pair right now is just basically support resistance, because resistance, support. Okay, same thing. Price action, support, resistance, support. Buy here, sell here. It's all I see. I don't see much. For those who trade different analysis and different trading methods, if you have any other thing you see on this pair, do let me know in the comments. But I don't see anything much here. Okay, on the 30 minutes volume profile and the strength we had on this, I want to say if price is to remain or price trades above this area here, okay, 134.76, if we were to have a retracement towards this area and price holds, then we could retest something like this here. If price holds there, we could retest the support or this resistance at 135.39. That's where I see the next sell off the coming days. We have a short resistance here on this zone. Volume profile, volume profile. Okay. Now, well, you have to wait for this next session. And if we have a retracement and price is to hold above 134.70, expect the price can maybe rebound from that area and keep going up. All right. We like trap some sellers here and we do that. Okay. Now, if price is to break below 134.77, then the next part, the 134.50, and we'll come all the way down to this demand area or the support area here. Okay. This is a support area. And if you look at this, price actually did bounce from there. Okay. Price came here and you see that and it went up, but it didn't make a higher high. It still came and respected this sellers here. So if price came from this zone, retested it, and is now coming back to the same area and finding it difficult to keep going up, that's a sign of weakness. All right, which means price might easily fall from that zone again. So above 134.40, you're looking at 136.00. All right. And below 134.70, you're looking at 134.30 and 134.20-ish on this pair. Okay. That being said, that's all I have for the pound US dollars. We're gonna give a quick dive at the Great British Pound Japanese yen. We had this move on Friday. I'll just do this. Cancel that resistance support. The markets have been really choppy. If you've been trading this for the past 2 weeks, you should understand the markets have been very choppy. Every market has been choppy, right? There's nothing like clear directions. The S&P 500 is just been choppy. It moves up, but if you trade like options, for example, you realize that the data is gonna just kill up your options because price doesn't move conservatively in one direction. So you see what we're having here, for example. We're having this movements like this is for those who are scalping, all right? Movements where price just keeps doing that and this and this and this and this. If you hold a short, you'll feel like, oh my God, it's going back up. If you hold a long, oh my God, it's going down. Then it keeps bouncing on and on and on and on and confuses everybody. So this is a very choppy market. If you're trading this, you have to be very quick with your profits or regulars with your stop losses, okay? Or just don't trade it at all. There's times I open my chart and I see this kind of action. I'm like, no, this is not for me. I will not take this. All right. So my previous recap on this pair was experiencing price to maybe move down to this zone and pick up price from there, but price did not. We went back up and maybe had the retracement came back later to this zone, and now we had this fall off. You see how choppy that was before we could even approach an area like this where price came here and there was a buy. There were buys here. See, so this zone actually did held, but how much was that move? That move was from 138.02 to 138.62. So basically about 60 pips was the movement. Now, would I say that this was something which I took? I took this trade on the opposite direction because when I saw this on Friday, I thought, oh, maybe we're gonna dumb down, but price actually did a bit of a manipulation here and it went up. But it was actually in the zone where I marked for buys. You see how tricky the market could be? It could be that tricky. So I took a loss there, no big deal. But right now, what I'm seeing is this. Mark my words on this one. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying it's gonna happen. But this coming session, if price holds above this VWAP 130, 198.32, we're gonna have a bounce back on this pair to the previous resistance, which is gonna be up here. Okay, I'm gonna mark this up for you guys to see. So right now we have something like this. We want to have price retrace from here, from this area to this zone. If you see this, when market opens and price starts going back up, just understand that we could retest this at 130, 198, even 19800 or 198.86. Okay. Now, given that on Friday we had this movement here, a lot of people were confused if this was just like short squeeze or a news event or whatever happens to Japanese here. No one knows that. I'm not sure there's a news event for that. But looking at this movement that happened on Friday, we need to stay above VWAP. Okay, on the 1 hour VWAP, on the 30 minutes VWAP, VWAP is still active on this pair, okay? We want to stay above VWAP and above 9 EMA. So my 9 EMA here is telling me we have to stay above this and above this. All right, a 9 EMA has crossed above VWAP, which is called a golden cross, and it's a bullish signal as well. Okay, so strong buys here happen on Friday. You want this to hold a support when market opens. You want the support to hold. All right, then we can look for buys. Now, if you break below this, if prices should break below this, then we are going further down. Okay, if price to break below 198.35 and we start going to 198.00 and breaks below 198.00 to 198.99, we might have a bit of a something like this here in these areas. But once price breaks this zone here that is marked, we are going further down. All right, we're going further down to maybe a zone like this. The next area where I'll be thinking of going on this page is this consolidation here at 197.77. I can take a long here and I'll maybe catch a few pips to the upside in this area. Okay, because we have this consolidation and there's a big buy, two big orders waiting here. Another part where you can actually take buys again will be all the way to this area at 196.00. I'll bring that up for you to see. So we could have a bit of manipulation on this pair today. I want you guys to open your eyes and keep your eyes open. We're gonna have something like around this 196.99, or to make it cute, 196.48. All right, these two areas are where I see price coming in and having some kind of reversal. But other than that, as I said, if we stay above 198.32, we can retest this area here at 199.18, give or take, or just bring this up here at 199.18, where I can look for sales, or 199.00, give or take, where I will look for sales. Okay, above this 199.18 or 16, if price still keeps moving up, then the next zone you're looking for sales will be up here in this area. Okay, 199.73. Or on this high volume note here, this area where price is basically having a very big candle for sales. So you want to watch 199.40, 199.54 for sales there, okay? If price retraces back to the zone. So we're looking at something like this, a little bit dump, and this, and we start doing that. Then you look for sell again. Okay, so put this on your charts. This is a setup which I've traded a lot of times. Mark your zones. We have buy zones and buy zones, and that's all I can say about this pair. Coming up from next week, I will start doing analysis on gold and a few stocks. I want to start touching stocks on the S&P 500 for those who want to both trade options and for those who trade stocks as well. Okay, so I'll start with gold and move on gradually into stocks like Tesla, Apple, and the S&P 500, and the S&P. I think S&P and SPY. All right, basically the same thing. SPY and the S&P 500. I'll be checking out those two things for next week. The market is really bullish, but very very tricky. So you want to trade with caution. You want to trade with as much as precautions as possible. Mark your zones, wait for your zones, trade your plans, and plan your trades. Okay, guys. So this has been Talking Charts. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments. Click the like button, click the follow button, hit the notification bell so that when I put on videos like this, you will get them. In the next coming week as well, we are going to be having daily Forex analysis and recaps, all right? So every end of session for New York session, I'm gonna be making videos like this for those who want to recap their sessions and see what they did good or what they did not do good. Then they can tune on to this channel, just tune in, so say subscribe. And that way, when I create these videos, you're going to see them, okay? If you're coming from TradingView, subscribe as well. I have a good follow on TradingView, and I'll also be linking my TradingView subscription bonuses or discount on my page today. So TradingView has offered me to give my followers 15% discount on the activation fees, all right? So if you want to get advantage of that, let me know. You're going to get it no matter what country you are in. As long as you use TradingView to do your charts and you follow me, you get the discount, okay? So that's all for today, guys. If you have any questions, as I said, leave it in the comments, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a good one, guys. Success, and see you next time. Bye-bye.